Hey there, my friend. Steve Gamlin here. It's time to have a conversation with another dear friend of mine, and been doing this a lot lately. And here's the greatest part. As a speaker of 16 plus years, an author, right now, at this time, the speaking industry is kind of on hold as far as big live events go. So a lot of us are in our home recording studios, our home offices, and doing our best to share our positive messages throughout the world, because even though the big events aren't happening, what we do is really, really helpful to a lot of people. And I know so many speakers who are still somehow, whether it's their writing, their Facebook Lives, their videos, their radio shows, their podcasts, whatever, are still getting their messages out there. Now, one of my favorite speakers on the planet is Mimi Brown. And Mimi and I have, there she is looking surprised. And there's nobody holding up a cue card going, look surprised. Because you just heard it, she's got a great laugh, and I love to make her laugh. But we also work together on humor and marrying it with a message. So I knew I wanted to be on a call with Mimi, and maybe just as speakers, as people who are out there intentionally sharing positive things anyway, we could offer up some hope and some advice and some tips and some just things we're learning now that we've had to shift our dynamic a little bit. So hey there, Mimi, happy to have you here.
Hey there, Steve. And the fact that you said I'm one of your favorite speakers, flattery will get you everywhere. What do you want?
We'll send a large drone carrying as many rolls of toilet paper as possible, and make sure you get the right house.
Oh, done. We don't want to TP the wrong house. That would be bad.
It's going to snow here a lot this week, so please just don't drop it in the snow, because that would just, I would sit there in the window with a tear just going down. You're watching birds make nests out of my toilet paper, or just watching it all soggy, because me with an extension cord in the driveway with a hair dryer, blow drying rolls of toilet paper would probably wind up being this year's Christmas card.
I would pay money to see that, Steve. I would.
I may actually do that. So we were talking before the call about ways that we're, as speakers and people who are normally on stages at events and at companies and doing all that, about some of the different things that we have to do now to get our messages out there. So what are some of the adjustments and some of the things that you're taking on, even if you're just doing them now for the first time after speaking for so many years?
So great question. So for me, it's really about that pivoting piece and understanding that regardless of the medium that I use, whether it's being live on stage in an in-person training or even coaching one-on-one, it's about the message and how you disseminate that message out there. So I pivoted, and this has been on my long to-do list for a while, and started offering virtual programs and what I like to call interactive virtual programs. Because I think people hear like webinar and they go, oh God, you think about the horrible like Visine voice slide, 128 slide experience that you might have. And you're multitasking, petting the dog, checking email, watching YouTube, trying to eat a sandwich, whatever that is while you're watching this. But I'm learning how to pivot and provide the same energy, enthusiasm that I do live on stage, but, twisting it or pivoting it a little bit and doing it in a virtual program.
And still bringing, and here's something I want to stress for anybody, no matter what job you do. Now we happen to be two speakers and writers and radio show hosts and kind of in a way entertainers as well, or edutainers, fun educational content, to make sure you are still a big part of everything you do, that your authentic voice. And I know you do this, but I've seen so many other people that they're this way here and then they're slightly different here. And one of the greatest lessons I ever learned, and it just came a few years ago, was somebody who said, Steve, no matter what you do, make sure it sounds like it's you speaking it, like in your writing, in your style, in your humor, in your Facebook Lives, in your virtual, in blended webinars and virtual sessions. I can't imagine popping in on a Mimi session and having it not be Mimi. And I use the double quote.
Well, It's interesting too. So I'm a big fangirl of Anne Hanley. She wrote the book, Everybody Writes. And one of the things she talks about is writing in your voice. And I think this concept of voice, which she defines voice as your tone. Like if I was to read something and not have any clue who wrote it, and I had to put it up against something and say, let me back up again. I speak for a living, Steve. If I had to take something and I didn't know who wrote it, and I knew your voice, your tone, your style, I should say, Mimi wrote that. And so I think that voice carries over not only in our writing, but how we show up online with social media posts, when you're in virtual programs, when you're on stage. People should know your style, and that shouldn't be muted based on the channel that you decide to use.
Yeah, and that really applies to anybody in any, whatever you do for work. You can walk into a building that may have 50 different salespeople or 50 different people in a creative environment or whatever, or even you can have 20 different baggers at the grocery store. And there's always that one that has that electricity, that has that smile, that has their energy, and people clog that person's register. And they'll wait in line because they want to be near that.
They want to go to that person. Like Jimmy does a great job. He always puts my eggs in a separate bag. He smiles. He ties it together. Mrs. Brown, do you want me to put it in paper or plastic? He sits it really nicely inside my cart. So yeah, and what I call that, Steve, is interesting segue, is what I call swag. And swag is your distinctive competitive advantage. Is what sets you apart. It's your secret sauce. It's your it factor. It's that thing that if you go to a meeting or you go to a networking event and you see somebody you're like, I want to know that person. That person is exuding swag. And I think all of us have it, but we just don't know how to turn it on.
And I think we need to breathe life into it no matter where we are. And I've been to so many networking events over the years. And I used to tell this as a stage story, actually. I used to refer to it as Stairway to Heaven networking.
Okay.
I'm
intrigued.
If you remember high school dances, and I've got a few years on you, so I remember a few more of them than you do. Probably about 95%. You're a former DJ as well, so you'll know this. About 95% of high school dances since 1971 have ended with the song Stairway to Heaven. And what happens at most high school dances? The girls are out dancing. A couple of guys who have confidence and swag are also out dancing. The rest of us guys, what do? We lean
Wallflowers.
Our buddies. Yep, wallflowers. We lean against the wall with a couple of friends. We sit there and blah, blah, blah all night long. We're not really engaging with what's going on, with where all the excitement is. And at the end, when we hear Stairway to Heaven, we know in 8 minutes and 4 seconds, we can go home. And people are out there networking like that, to go to these, whether it's chamber or whatever, networking events, and they're not getting into where the energy and where the good things are happening. They're kind of outliers. And they're not really doing much of anything. And I think now, with the dynamic of everything changing, I honestly don't think no matter what you do for a living, you can afford to be leaning against the wall. You've engaged somewhere. Your energy has to come out. You know, the people I love most at networking events are the ones that have a whole ring of people around them and they're like holding court. And they're laughing. And even if you don't talk to the people, I used to love, because I'm by nature a shy person. Most people don't realize that, but I am. I would just be near those people and just watch how they handled themselves, carried themselves, and the confidence they had, and how they did what they did, and how they gave attention to every single person. It just made you feel good by being around them. And I think right now, more than ever before, we all need to be holding court, especially those of us in the speaking industry who have a message, who can reach out and help and inspire people. And you're about to start your YouTube channel, or at least continue growing it.
Yeah.
That's a great step forward, because you're visual and your audio, because I just adore watching videos of you. And I just think your energy is great. And I think that we need to all keep doing that and getting our swag out there. I mean, my swag is pretty much confined to the house right now.
Me, both.
I'm sitting in my recording studio, which some people call the barnboard lounge, which I love.
I love it, the barn.
One of my clients called it that. He goes, "Hey, you hanging out in the barnboard lounge?" I'm like, that's kind of a cool name, actually. I'll probably use it.
Coco Cabana, for whatever reason, starts playing in the back of my mind when you say it. And you go, ah.
A pink flamingo for the back then, and pop it up there. But I mean, that's kind of where I think people need to be right now. What are your thoughts on that, and what would you like to add to that of how people can really keep their swag out there right now?
Well, I think one is being visible and putting positivity out there. It is so much heaviness happening in the world because we have this uncertainty. Things are in a flux. We're in a crisis or a chaos, and you get inundated with those messages. And what I've done is I've actually turned the news off, because this is what I figure. If anything major happens, somebody's going to call me and tell me. I don't have to go watch it and ingest it and let it sit in my spirit. And so I think and I've done this before too, Steve, you underestimate the power of your voice and the power of your perspective and positivity. And I remember I had a friend of mine who was going through a rough patch, and he called me and he said, Mimi, I just need to hear something good. And I know you give good energy. And it's things I think sometimes we take for granted, that everybody knows that, or, isn't everybody saying that? And they're not. And I think one of the ways that you put your energy out there is putting up positive posts on social media, calling up friends. I've actually used this current time, this slow time in the business, to just connect with people that I haven't spoken to, not trying to sell anything, or I'm just checking in with you. How is it going? How are you faring through things? What can I help with? Or here's what I can help with. I'm here to be of support. And I think it's like a ripple effect. When you start that, you give other people the same idea. One of my latest favorite things in the social media world is, and you'll appreciate this, Steve, being a DJ, is DJ D Nice. So he is a celebrity DJ.
Yes.
And he held a Instagram live quarantine party, which I thought was amazing. He had over 100,000 active views during this 6-hour bash. He got, not only did he get all kind of accolades from and media attention from like CNN and the New York Times and some other media outlets, but it was the goodwill that he gave. Because if you think about it, and just like in our business, we're in the people business. If people aren't meeting, we aren't usually there. Our business drops. So he took advantage of an opportunity and took something as a crisis. And crisis often begets opportunity. We just have to be open enough to see it. And not only, I think from what I read, not only did he have a good time, people were throwing him cash through different like Venmo and Cash App, but it was the goodwill that he generated, and it made him feel good to be able to give back. And he used his swag, a skill and a talent that he had, to help make the world a better place. And I think sometimes underestimate the power of our swag.
Yeah. And I saw the part or the rumblings, the echoes of that original thread where he was broadcasting live. And I saw some people way down the thread line that said, I've been watching since the beginning and I can't shut it off. And so all these, he was on for hours.
Over 6 hours. He was exhausted.
I'm sure. And it gave so many people hope. And as soon as I saw that, I just smiled a mile wide. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, because I know so many musicians up here in New England because I was on the radio years ago. And so I met these people, and these people now, their live events are gone. And I saw a guy the other night down in Boston. He was basically playing his piano, and people would either maybe message over a request, and somebody else actually put up his Venmo and his PayPal addresses. And the PayPal one wasn't working, so I've got to go back because I want to send the guy just $10.
Yeah.
Right now, things are real tight right now. Both my businesses are. But online, I've still got stuff going on, but as far as, events. But I just wanted to send it because he'd be playing and he'd look up at the camera and he'd smile and he'd go back to playing and smile. And I just thought it was so great. And I think it's such an amazing platform for those who are choosing to take their joy and their talent and marry it and just throw it out there for an audience.
And Steve, I think that's it. It's a choice that you're making. And I think people don't realize that. So I think I shared this with you a while ago, but I had the pleasure to be in one of Oprah's audiences for her Vision 2020 tour. And it was great to just be in her presence. And now I call her hashtag my friend Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that she talked about is, you aren't your circumstances. And the first step is awareness that you want to shift and change. But the second thing is making a decision. And sometimes it's not always the right decision. It might be the right decision in the moment, but we got to make a decision. How do we want to feel? What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? And I think that decision is where we lose our power, because people give it away. I don't have a choice. And I remember a couple weeks back, I was on an airplane headed to go to LA for a speaking engagement, one of the last ones I've had as of currently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on the plane, and I always call my father before I get ready to go. And he's fussing at me with the current state of affairs. He's like, I can't believe you're on an airplane, Mimi. And that's irresponsible. And he was making me feel really badly. And then I fluffed back at him. Well, I didn't have a choice, because I have to, get money and all this kind of stuff. And this is my job. And then so after we get off the phone, I had the long 5-hour flight to LA to think about it. I stopped for a moment and I said, well, I did have a choice. Even if he didn't love the option, I made a decision to get on that airplane, and I made a decision to move forward, whatever that looks like for me. But in that moment, I had given my power away by saying I didn't have a choice. No, I had a choice, and that's the decision that I made. And I'm actually happy with it. I was okay with that. But I had to own my choice. I had to own my decision.
Yeah. And, the show must go on. I mean, none of us really knew at the time. We were all on our farewell tours.
Yes.
Printed T-shirts or something, because I probably could have made some coin doing that. But it's funny, because little things like, I was just basically joking, saying the farewell tour and T-shirts and all that. I should actually make one. The 2020 TP farewell tour.
I'd buy one.
But something I actually did do a few weeks ago, and this is something that people can hopefully remember to do, like right now when business isn't business as usual, but you still want to reach out. You still want to keep in touch with people. And like you said, you don't want to just call somebody and try to sell them something. I was talking with my team recently, Robinson Infomedia Services, and the, what do we call it? Digital Marketing Mavericks it's basically a tribe that I'm part of, and they're amazing, and they're guiding me like you wouldn't believe. And they said, come up with some interesting way to keep in touch, or just let people know you're thinking of them, but not sell to them.
Yes.
And as you know, I do a lot of vision board work. It's still on the board. I was producing videos this morning, visionboardmastery.com. Well, a few weeks ago, somebody said, well, what in a nutshell describes vision boards? I said, see it, be it, do it.
Ooh.
Goals that you want to achieve. Become the person that you will need to become, or surround yourself with the right people to be the person who is able to go out and achieve it, and then do it, take the action steps. Yeah. And I put it on, and Lonnie Robinson, who I love as a brother, he said, man, put that on a coffee mug and send it to people you haven't worked with in a few years. Oh. So I went on teespring.com, and I designed a coffee mug, and I made it screaming bright yellow with the letters, see it, be it, do it, with my logo on the other side. And I picked 3 vision board clients who I've done corporate work for that I haven't seen in 3 to 5 years. And I sent it to them. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff hit the fan, because it's about a 3-week delivery process. Oh, wow. So I created them and sent them, and then all of this hit the fan. So they should actually be getting them this week.
Wow. I would love to know what their reaction is.
Yeah, there's no sales, nothing. It was just thinking of you. Yeah. And I can't even imagine the conversations I'm going to have with these folks, because we did some really great work together. It's just a matter of, I kept out there speaking and just doing other stuff and didn't keep in touch with them. But now a bright yellow, very happy looking, sunshiny colored mug is going to land. Hopefully they're able to get to it.
Yeah.
But if not, when things get back to whatever the new normal is going to be, it'll be there waiting for them, and they'll know I was thinking of them, because it was just from the heart. So if there are people out there, and you mentioned calling people on the phone, I did that the other day. I had an hour between stops, sat in my car, and I called 6 different people I haven't talked to in a while. And I felt so much better.
You do. And Steve, it's awesome, because you can take it a step. What I've done is I host virtual lattes through Zoom. And so I'll send them over a link, and the virtual latte is 15 minutes. It's not I'm not committing you to even a half an hour. I just want to check in, see how you're doing. I make it about them. And then oftentimes about a day before the virtual latte, I will send them a Starbucks gift card through like an e-gift card and say, have a cup of coffee on me so we can actually enjoy it together. And I encourage them to bring their caffeinated beverage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes such a difference. And people go, oh, and sometimes it's $5 depending on the week. It's sometimes 10. In a minute, it's going to be $2.87. But
that's going to be the gift card you found in the glove box in your car,
yeah,
right?
you're like, oh, there we go. You write it on there. You're like, I got $2.87 left.
Well, me and Sharpies have got these things graffitied all over to the penny of what's left on all my cards.
You're smart. At least you know I found cards all the time. It's like Christmas, like, whoa. But I think there's a lot to be said about just taking the time to connect with people and just being with people, even if it is virtually.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love sending little memes to people. There's a great website out there called imgflip.com, like imageflip.com. And you can go up there and you'd say, create a meme, and you can find all these different pictures of people. And then you can put a caption top and bottom. And I saw one guy on a humor site saying, there was a picture of him speaking in Canada somewhere. There's a big banner behind him basically saying like he was being crowned Miss Canada. And he goes, I assure you, I was not Miss Canada. And all I could think of was Steve Harvey reading the wrong name a few years ago. So I went on imageflip.com this morning, imgflip.com. I found a picture of Steve Harvey, a snapshot of him with the envelope. And I just put the caption, that ain't what the envelope said. He just said that. He goes, man, you just made my day.
That was right on time.
It took me 30 seconds to create this, but the more you can sprinkle yourself and genuinely yourself, because humor is a huge part of what I do. Yeah. And appropriate humor is what I should say is a big part of what I do. Think of ways that you can be out there reaching out to people, picking each other up. You and I have seen in the National Speakers Association Facebook community how many people right now are sharing their skills to help other people raise theirs. There are webinars and calls going on almost daily. Hey, does anybody need to know more about how to use this? I'm having a call today at 3 p.m. and for free. I mean, these people are just throwing their knowledge out there to help everybody rise up.
People have been doing that, and it's incredible, isn't it? Yep. And it's just the humanity that comes along. And it actually gives me hope that the world is a good place and that there's good people out there, because people are just actively giving. And I think it perpetuates that, and you just see it just starts to blossom even further.
Yeah. And the best ones are the people that have been just giving like this right along. And I try to be one of those people. You know, because 6 months ago, one person did something or got the speaking event, other people like, son of a, you know, hashtag up yours. You got that gig, and you know, there's only so many stage places out there, and I don't care if I lose an event to somebody else. It just means that right now they were a better fit. Fine, I'll help anybody. I don't care.
Well, absolutely. And I make it my business. I actually had, which is probably going to turn to a third of that now, I had a revenue goal for the amount of business I was looking to refer to other speakers, and I was tracking it, and I was actively going out there. And so far, I think I've referred, and people have gotten like 3 engagements, but it makes me feel really good because not only am I helping myself, I'm helping other folks. And I remember it was a speaking engagement I was up for. I didn't know it was me and another NSA member, and he got it. And so when I called to do the follow-up and kind of, you know, you get the Dear John letter experience, and they said, oh, we gave it to Ben, and I start screaming. I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna love Ben, he's great. And he probably was on the phone like, did she know I just said she didn't get it?
Yeah.
And I was like, Ben's gonna do an amazing job. He's going to do an amazing, you made a good choice.
Yep.
And he probably, and it was genuine. It wasn't like, oh, Ben will do great. It was, Ben's gonna do a really great job.
Yeah. And, you know, and the humility of that and the roll with the punches, because these people, most of them, they don't want to make that call to tell you that you didn't get the event. I was up for a speaking event in Boston. It was about 4 years ago now, and the company was based in Colorado, but their conference was going to be in Boston 6 months later. And the guy said, hey, I've heard about you and your positive message, you know, positivity and humor, and send me a proposal. And I sent it out to them. I always, 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 when people inquire, and this is something that people can start doing more of if they're not. When people inquire or reach out to you, or you have any sort of communication, when you answer back, shoot a little video of you saying hello so they can get a feel of who you are, how you are, what you look like, your style, your energy. And I sent him a video. Hey, how are you? So appreciative that I'm, candidate for this event. And he emailed me a couple of days later. He goes, man, I loved your video, but let me just tell you, I'm really sorry. We've decided for somebody else who's a better fit right now for our message for the conference. We're very sorry. Maybe we'll work together down the line. So I read that and I go, oh, okay. Come in here, record another video. Hey, Matt, Steve Gamlin here. I really appreciate being considered. I get that, maybe I'm not a good fit right now, but seniors are going to be in Boston. At the time, the Red Sox were doing horribly. I said, just do me a favor. Just promise me while you're in town, you'll cheer for the Red Sox. They're pitiful right now. He sent me a message back. He goes, first off, I've never gotten a video from anybody. Second, I've never got a happy video after we told them we're not hiring them. And third, yeah, I'll cheer for your Red Sox while we're even though we're not working together. He goes, I'm going to remember you. So just be memorable right now, especially with so much going on and so much negativity out there. And what most people don't realize, you and I are out there putting the positive stuff out. Some people go, oh, it's easy for you. You're a positive person. Well, guess what? The positive stuff happening in the world right now, and there is a ton. There's just a massive amount of positivity happening. It's just as real as the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And it is. And it's up to all of us to bring out the genuine positive energy.
It goes back to what you choose to focus on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are afraid to put positive messages out there because they get crap for it.
Yeah.
Years ago, there was a woman that wanted to put together, it was a virtual Pay It Forward Friday. It was a couple weeks after Thanksgiving a few years ago. And she made it a Facebook event, all this, and people, she goes, please, if you do an act of kindness, come here and share it to give us all ideas. So I went there to share a couple. There were thousands of people there. One guy comes up, I hate this. And me being who I am, grab a stick and start hitting back. I said, what do you hate about it? Well, all these people are just bragging. I said, you realize this is an event about kindness, and we were asked to share this. And there were a few people, I saw other people going, I came here to share, but I saw this, and so I'm not going to. All right, this guy's got to go down. So I said again, this event was created to be intentionally positive. Why are you even here? Well, it says in the Bible, if you brag on your giving, you're a sinner and you're going to hell. And I said, well, that might be your interpretation of it. And he said something about, yeah, well, the rest of you are going to be a-holes the other 364 days of the year. And he dropped the S-bomb too. And I go, well, I was raised Catholic. I've read parts of the Bible. I said, I don't remember Jesus ever saying that. But I said, and you chose today to be that a-hole.
Oh.
I'm done. And I just typed back 5 minutes later, want to bet? And answered again. And I'm like, see, that's your problem. It's your follow through. And I just kept mocking him. And other people are like. And I'm like, I can do this all day.
And it's people like that you go, really? Like, why are you even here? I remember I had a similar situation when I used to work in corporate. We had a new vice president come in, and she had done her tour of the company. And I worked in the call center, which was one of the lowest paid, most, underappreciated areas in the company. We dealt with all the customer crap. And right around Christmas, she gave everyone a $500 bonus, like right in time for Christmas. Wow. And do you know some people complain?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, after taxes, I'm only going to get $300, or it's taking me into a different tax bracket for the next year. And I'm like, even if you got half of it, it was $250 more than you knew that you were going to get. Oh, yeah. Why are you but people are never, it's all in how you look at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, some people think even when good stuff happens, they act as though they're running around somebody's backyard barefoot and stepping in dog crap.
Yes.
They're just looking for it.
Yeah.
And that's, then some people say, well, bad things always happen to me. I'm like, well, your attitude sucks.
Well, because you said it, so you're just inviting it in. You're like, come on, the door is open. Come on in, bad stuff.
That whole law of attraction, every once in a while, something will happen and they'll call me or reach out to me and go, hey, Steve, is that whole, and they always quote, law of attraction thing that you talk about? And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. The energy you put out there, your thoughts, your words, your actions, generally will result in similar energy returning. Now, is it an absolute? No, it's not. If you're generally and genuinely a positive person in doing that, it increases the odds that you're going to find positive people, positive circumstances. That's why we're together, because I loved your energy, and we just reached out to each other one day and said we should be friends, and here we are. And what some people forget is when you're out there posting negative, vile crap all day long on social media, just complaining and pointing fingers and just bad mouthing everybody. When that little energy boomerang comes back, it might have a brick tied to it, and it might smack you right in the head.
Oh, yeah.
What forget to understand is who threw it.
Exactly. And I think that's sometimes the part that people get disconnected from is you put it out there and it's just mirroring back what you've already extended. And I think the key is, and this is the part that as I'm going through this whole journey, and I totally get the law of attraction and all about energy and vibration and all that. And I have to remind myself that even when I get in that little swirl, and we all, even the super positive people, like I was sitting on my couch for a couple of days after this whole thing happened, like, oh, I don't want to go outside. And I had to kind of remind myself, like, well, you're feeling bad because you're feeling bad. So you can do something about that, right? But sometimes it's separating yourself from it. Like when I have those moments where things aren't going right, I got to change the subject. I'll go take a nap. Like I just I'll put on my favorite music. I'll call someone and say something positive. I totally try to remove myself from that situation, or divide myself from that thought in the moment that will allow me to get a fresh start. That's why I started meditating. And my meditations sound like this: 1, 2, oh crap, it's a thought. 1, 2, oh dang it, stop thinking. 3, 4.
Inner Mimi.
Yes, but it's something about being quiet.
Yeah.
And allowing yourself to just be. And I don't think we do that enough. We don't allow that to sit in that space of nothingness and just and being quiet.
Yeah, years ago when I was at a particularly low point in my life, this is right after my radio career, my divorce and everything, I just kind of blew everything up in the early 2000s. And I was working with a life coach at the time. And I met him at his house one day. He said, oh, we're not going to be on the phone this week. Come to my house. And there had been a lot of rain the previous week, and he had a little brook in his backyard, which was at this point almost a river.
Oh, wow.
He said, okay, how long's our session? I said, 30 minutes, right? He goes, yes. We're not going to say a word. We had 2 lawn chairs, and he said, we're just going to sit here and we're going to listen. And I didn't make it 30 seconds. And I turned to him, I go, why are we doing this? This sucks. He goes, and I'm like, and then of course my brain being a DJ, rolling on the river, and I just, all this noise in my head starts. Yeah, and you're doing the Tina Turner version, perfect, which is the best version. And I'm going and going and going. My mind is racing, and with about 8 minutes left, I got it. I sat there. I heard stuff that I didn't even know was there for the previous 22 minutes. I heard birds, I heard insects, I heard the water. I found this one rock where the waves kept hitting it a certain way, making this really amazingly cool splash. And that was just that part of the field of that. And at the end, and he goes, how was it? I'm like, like, or like reach for my wallet and go, we're going longer. But it was just amazing that for 8 minutes, finally.
And when you allow yourself just to be and be in that tranquility and being okay with silence, especially for those of us who are raging extroverts,
Mm-hmm.
You're able to hear things you normally wouldn't hear and experience yourself in a different way. And I think as a regular practice, and it's something that I work on, is this idea of not doing anything. I was doing a speaking engagement a few weeks ago as part of my farewell tour.
Yep.
And one of the gals, I don't know how we got on the conversation, but she said to me, Oh, I'm so excited. I have nothing scheduled on my calendar. I was like, oh, so how does that work? I wasn't understanding. She said, no, literally, I put together like I hold 3 or 4 hours on my calendar and it says nothing. And she opens up her phone and it says my nothingness time. And I said, so what do you do with this nothingness time? And she says, nothing. She said, whatever I choose to do, but I don't have anything planned. I just sit and I be. So just sometimes I paint my nails. Sometimes I look at the ceiling, but that's my time to rejuvenate and be with me. And I was just so intrigued. I kept asking her questions like I could not understand.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, people like us, we've both been DJs. I've been a DJ 26 and a half years. There's always something. And of course, DJing as long as we have, my ears ring loudly. So it's a struggle for me to be in total silence. I may put some soft music on to just take that edge off, or just look outside. I mean, we've got a bit of wildlife here. We live kind of in the woods. We're watching robins yesterday pull out the dead grass so they can make their nests.
Oh,
That was kind of cool and relaxing.
that is, and just like you said, just being in that observation mode and paying attention to things that you normally wouldn't pay attention, and being okay with, I don't need to do something.
Right.
Like I can be. It's interesting because I listen to Calm Meditation channel on Pandora, and that's how I've had to learn how to meditate. Because like you, my ears still ring, and my mind wanders even more when I don't have that music playing. But it just gets me in that space, and I can meditate for hours that way. And I can catch myself when it's time for me to come out of the meditation because my brain just will not stop. Oh, I could be doing this and this and this. Squirrel!
That's our spirit animals. We were not born in the same year, but I'm convinced that both our spirit animals are squirrels.
I agree.
Now, you talk about meditation and music. You know that one of the original recordings of a rippling water is actually a guy who hung a microphone in his toilet tank and just kept flushing it.
No.
And as it refilled, yeah, the guy made a fortune. He recorded his toilet. We're all relaxing to it.
Over to the toilet, hell to the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff in this conversation. What is one tip super important that you would like to stress to people as they're going through right now? The stresses, the chaos, the confusion, the pressure, the uncertainty. What would you like people to just have in mind and say, yeah, Mimi said that, so I really need to think about that?
I want to be really thoughtful about this, Steve. So I would say, don't let crisis cower you, let it inspire you. Crisis begets opportunity. So keep your eyes peeled for what's possible, because it's really easy for us to think about everything that you're losing or is being taken away, or how even some of our personal freedoms, like being able to go to certain restaurants and stores, are being taken away. But look at it for the opportunity that it is and let that move you forward. Because as we know, in vision board land and in law of attraction, what you focus on expands. So focus on what you want to see and be open to seeing it, and let that be your guide. Yeah,
love that. And how can people find out more about Mimi? Because I can't imagine anybody that's been listening into this would say, yeah, I her energy is not attractive or anything like that. No. And what's that address again?
So if you check out ampupsuccess.com, so AMPUP success.com, and you can find me on all social channels, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Hey Mimi Brown. That's once again, Hey Mimi Brown. And I'd love to connect with you. If I can be of a service, give you a kind word or an intriguing or insightful thought, I'm all about it.
And you and I will cross paths somewhere out there on the Speaker Comeback Tour.
Yes.
My farewell tour t-shirts inside out, and I'll just grab a Sharpie and write, we're back.
We're back.
Yeah. Awesome. Mimi, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I look forward to connecting very soon, because you and I are pretty well in touch anyway.
We are.
I'm glad that we get to get together for this conversation. And hopefully, like with everything else I say, if somebody wakes up tomorrow, thinking one more positive thought, speaking one more kind word, or taking one more positive action, it's a huge win for both of us.
Absolutely. Steve, thanks for inviting me. I've had a blast.
You're so welcome.